This video is going to be about starting your own Astral army. You might believe you don't have the resources to create your own army, but as long as you live, you have all the resources you need. You have your mind, you have your body, you have your spirit, most importantly, you have your energy. The reason I say energy is most important is because energy can be used to create egregores. A lot of books will go into detail about their creation, and I'll go into some detail here as well. The idea behind it is that you can raise a shadow extension of yourself. I will go into how to create an exact copy of yourself. If you can master this technique and keep these extensions alive by linking them to an energy source, you can create an army out of them that will accomplish whatever you need. Having servants in the astral will ensure that you don't need to do as many spells and rituals, and that a lot of things get done that wouldn't have otherwise been done. It's good to have servants to delegate work and projects to, especially if you use copies of yourself, or at least impart your knowledge to your egregores. It will be as capable and knowledgeable as you are. It'll know what you want and how you would want it done and have the skills to accomplish it because it's you. The technique is akin to splitting yourself into fragments on an astral level. If you can learn to mind lord your extensions, you can create a formidable force. Mind lording is a technique where one individual becomes the center point of thought to a larger group of people. Doing this for your extensions will allow you to have greater cohesion and capability. You can make a hive mind out of your extensions controlled by you. You also want to create different roles for them. I'll go into more detail about the roles you have them play in later videos, but the idea is to specialize your forces so that the various parts and gears of your political machine cooperate and function together. The reason having roles is so important is because at first, everyone will be new to their assigned jobs, everybody will be new to their assigned jobs, but over time they'll gain experience in having experts performing these roles for you, where once they're inexperienced, will be most valuable as they are more skilled and able to accomplish your will. Having servants constantly working to impress you will allow you to get a lot more done, from a simple spell to large operations. Having your own living force will aid you, whether it's a small spell such as attempting to bring pizza into your life sometime in the next 2 weeks, to finding a home or job or lover or remote viewing for you, checking your timelines, making sure they're healthy, etc. If you have people constantly doing jobs for you, you will be constantly getting benefits. The all iteration rule is that all incarnations of somebody, meaning them and their parallel selves, are the same soul, the same person warping unwittingly through time and going from form to form. Things that resonate similarly link to each other, and so when you sleep, your consciousness travels to similar energy resonances, your other selves, and you live time there until you sleep again. And when you or your parallels die, the soul is sometimes merged with another parallel self, allowing them to grow stronger. This is partially because of the electromagnetic resonances in the brain and nervous system that function as a gate and link yourselves together, so you're constantly connected to the Akashic and your other selves. It's good to have protected spirits around because there are going to be people and entities that want to eat your lunch, and having your own army of servants, created and non, will help you eat their lunch instead. Or you could poison your lunch so that the people who would want to eat it will get their just desserts. I personally have done both. I've raised an extension army and I've raised an egregore army, and that's basically what you will make out of your clones, your copies, your shadow extensions. I've made armies out of egregores, so I know that it works really well. My personal philosophy is that I don't want to create a simple machine. I want to nurture a new form of life, and I treat my extensions and egregores as living beings. I respect them and raise them like a child at times. This allows me to have living loyalty from being capable of acting on its own. This is far more powerful than having a robot army blindly doing your bidding, although it takes far more skill, and so practicing on a robot army might be beneficial. What I mean by robot is a collection of parts working like a machine with connected gears. It's easy to mistake the difference, but it mainly depends on your intent. All energy is alive, so your machine might wake up one day. A machine that mimics life is a servitor. Your egregores will only get better and more powerful over time. This is a very important key to success. Managing your own army, your own forces, is a vital task. The reason I keep using the word army, the word forces, is because you're not just going to make a cleaning crew. You're going to get into fights, and besides, armies can do more than fight. They can coordinate events for you. You can also watch your timelines, which is super important. It's good to have your timelines watched and written, which is the main function of spiritual servants. And even if you don't want to change your luck in timelines, it's still good to make sure they aren't being poisoned. You want to take every step you can to prevent an attack. You might raise an extension and give it the job of watching your timelines and unpoisoning them, and that'll be your first step towards creating your own army. If you want to create a shadow extension, I'll give you a simple tutorial. If you're an advanced enough sorcerer to move around energy, you can do this more successfully. First, make sure you decide a purpose before creating anything, whether it is to write your timelines or manage this thing or that thing, or just in general doing your bidding. For instance, you'll want a right hand, a most trusted secondary who runs things that you're not paying attention to, a supervisor you can task with jobs who will use your resources, including the other entities. Visualize yourself in your own entirety, then imagine you are filled with light, the color of which should resonate most with your purpose in creating your extension. Imagine this colored light flowing up and down and through you, swirling and absorbing aspects of yourself, then see it forming into another you. Imagine this other you being pushed outside of you until you can visualize it, your own child of sorcery outside of you. It may take some focus to hold it still and steady while you edit it, as it is the living reflection of your will. Once it's stabilized, you can push your energy into it by visualizing energy flowing from you into your creation. Now is the time to colorize your energy with the intent you want it to accomplish, and begin linking it through will and channel desire to the energies and egregore pools you wish it to draw from so that it can survive outside of you and not dissipate. Be warned that when you link them to energy sources to color their personality, and they will differ over time and develop traits you might not like. This is the time to change its form or manipulate it into the egregore you want it to be. You can accomplish all of this through willful visualization. Once it's ready, you can wake it up and put it to work. There are several ways to do this. One is to imagine a link between the both of you, then will and color your energies that it would wake up and send it down the line, and at the same time, snap your fingers. The shock to your subconscious will disperse the energy that you created, which will cause it to activate the intent you put into it. If the intent was to wake up your creation, then it will happen. Now, because it has a limited energy supply and no body to feed energy from food and water, it will need another energy source. You can link it off to various power sources, but be warned, its power source will color its personality, abilities, and actions. You can use anything from fictional characters to the planets to the elements. I'd avoid otherwise living sources of energy such as plants and animals. If you fail to properly link your creation, it will eventually run out of energy and die or dissipate, and you don't want that happening after all that work you put into it. You can link your creation through the same process you used before: intent, visualization, and maybe snapping your fingers. See it become linked to the source or sources you wanted to draw from. I recommend at least two, although one would work. Be careful not to mix conflicting energies, though, such as solar and lunar, or fire and water, or it might explode. If you do it enough and try it enough, it will work. That's how you can begin your army. If you create enough of them and link them in purpose and cause, you will eventually have a sizable force to command. Remember to catalog and journal them